minutes before? Me, Ursula, and you, Diana, and Croy?
That sounds good to me.
All right.
Cool.
Okay. To many individuals at Luna Nova Academy, what happened outside was just a normal day. Every so often, a student researches a spell that they did not fully understand and it goes wrong. Atsuko Kageri had done this exactly 11 times. Susima and Bavarin had done this exactly 3 times. And Diana Cavendish had a grand total of 1, which she then immediately cleaned up the moment she figured out what went wrong. The teachers loved this about Miss Cavendish and threw praises upon her. So when the absolutely massive patch of Easter lilies suddenly disappeared as soon as they had arrived, the students of Luna Nova breathed a visible sigh of relief. Of course, it was probably just something that Diana had done. While a few of the massive plants remained, they would be quickly taken care of and put aside, but not before Susima and Bavarin got her hands on them. There was a unique property that the stem of the lilies had that could assist in her potion making, and the fact that these lilies were huge just meant that there would be even more stem than normal. Lilies were, after all, hard to get your hands on for a student witch. The moment she saw them bloom outside her window, she flew outside and started cutting a few stems before they grew out of hand. This gave her a first-hand look at the massive barrier that began to envelop the lilies around her, and an even closer look at Professor Ursula. Shit. Okay. Wow, this sentence is actually written horribly now that I am reading it out loud. An even closer look at Professor Ursula, pulling both herself and Croy into the barrier before it disappeared entirely. Susie dropped her massive shears as she hovered on her broom and stared dumbfounded at the area that, just a few minutes ago, contained almost a dozen massive Easter lilies. She cast her eyes at the few that still existed and gulped. While she had no idea what had just transpired, she knew for a fact that it was not normal. She flew down to the courtyard, stems in hand, and ran inside, scrambling around for a teacher. The first thing that Akko felt when the world found pain in her head. The second thing she felt was someone shaking her awake. Hard. She pushed whoever the hands were attached to on their face and rolled over in the nice, cool grass. The ground felt nice. Comforting. Leave me alone! 5 more minutes!
I'm afraid we don't have time for that, Miss Kageri.
The voice was familiar, the hint of an attitude laced with the brains to back it up. Akko's eyes flitted open as she rubbed her head. Professor Croy? Where'd Diana go? Akko had never been around Professor Croy that much. It wasn't that she didn't want to be around Croy, but whenever she had the chance to do so, Professor Ursula suddenly had a massive assignment for her to do, or something to work on, so she only had the brief chance in class to hear her when she spoke up. She squinted. A look of fear crept across Croy's face as her mouth twisted into a frown.
I'm sorry, Miss Kageri. What?
Diana was just here. Where did you come from?
Miss Cavendish was with you?
Yeah. Professor Croy had made a plan. Professor Croy had put things together. An intricately linked clockwork plan designed based on a very specific set of data, and she had messed it up. With one person, Professor Croy knew exactly where they would be sent to, exactly how long they would be gone, and when the machine could be turned on to pull them back. That was all with one person. But 4 people? Professor Croy had made a grave miscalculation. Diana Cavendish was pacing back and forth within the sea of Easter lilies. Whatever magic had just activated was huge, and Atsuko Kageri was nowhere to be found. Instead, all she had was Professor Ursula, unconscious, lying on the ground. To try and recognize what kind of magic had gone off, she would need a bit more material, and most importantly, an actual wand. She had nothing except for the lilies around her, much less a wand. Ursula stirred behind her.
Oh, good. You're away. Concussion and was thinking that I was sorely equipped to provide medical attention.
What? Diana? What are you doing here? I thought just Akko had fallen through. Diana lowered her head and placed a hand on her hip.
Akko and I were together.
Ursula brushed herself off and pulled herself to her feet. If you and Akko were in there, then that means... Oh no, is she nearby? Have you seen Croy? Diana raised an eyebrow.
What does Professor Croy have to do with all this?
Ursula laughed nervously and pulled off her hat, readjusting a lock of hair. With a heavy sigh, she looked down. I don't know whether or not it actually worked or if she was playing with me, but we may have just gotten displaced by a large amount of time magic. Diana's eyes went wide. Her world felt still. No sound echoed other than the feeling of her heartbeat. There was a single word inside her head, something that she couldn't admit to herself but carried still somewhere within her heart. A seed of worry was planted.
Do you think we all got sent to the same time?
The next few words that came out of Ursula's mouth felt like they took forever. They felt like they took an eternity. Diana's heart burst in her chest as she heard the words tumble out.
Is this correct?
Yeah.
We have no way of knowing. We could have been dropped in any time, or at any place. Unfortunately, I only have the one bot on me, and a single magic router, so I'm not sure, and the tests that I could do would be limited.
Akko's face fell and her shoulders slumped. But you're the great Professor Croy! You made the magic router which pulls that magic up from the ley lines, right? If it's pulling more magic, then that means we're in the past, right? Croy shook her head.
Time isn't exactly like that, Akko. That could mean that we're in the future, in which there's more magic, or perhaps an alternate present, in which we have more magic. Time magic, while powerful, creates some interesting echoes across the stream of magic.
Diana raised an eyebrow.
What could that possibly mean? Time doesn't exactly echo, does it? I would think that time exists as a line one can travel through like ley lines.
Professor Ursula bit her lip and shook her head. Less of a line and more of a tree. Think of it like the ley lines. They're all over Earth and every single bit of it covers our planet. They twist and branch out and eventually move back to Yggdrasil, the world tree. Think of time like that same tree. It branches out in two directions, with the past being the roots and the branches and leaves being the future. But deep within the trunks are layers and rings and countless different presents that we can't see or ever hope to see. We could be in the past, we could be in the present, we could have not gone anywhere. In fact, we might be standing in the same exact space as...
Professor Ursula and your friend Diana.
Diana's not my friend. Croy gave her a cautious smirk.
Right. In any case, we should probably get the lay of the land outside this veritable land of lilies and blooms, wouldn't you say, Ms. Kageri?
Akko pumped her fists and a look of fire overtook her face. Yeah, we gotta get back home! As Akko trailed the path ahead out of the sea of lilies, Croy trailed behind and slipped her sleeve down, exposing a black watch. She pressed with her thumb on the center. Magic bloomed around it, and it surged through its whirling gears, and a 4-digit number appeared on the face. Minus 1672 years. Croy cocked her head and slid her sleeve back over her watch. Professor, stop being such a slowpoke!
God damn.